and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to use this big oversized mug that you recently seen in one of my Opshop hauls, and I'm going to make a mug organizer, and so I can just put different tools in it and you can carry it around. Like if I'm doing some crafting outside or up the other end of the cabin, I can put things in it and carry it around with me. So all these measurements depend on what size your mug is. I went to the Opshop and found an oversized mug so I could fit, you know, a fair bit of stuff in it. And this would be probably almost twice the size of a regular just hot drink mug, because I gave Dave a drink in it last night and I had to double everything and he said, "Oh wow, this is a bladder buster." And I think he enjoyed it, but it was quite a big drink. Alright, so if you want more things in it, look out for an oversized one. So then you just have to measure your mug so that the fabric then comes right up to like the length of your mug and wraps right round to the handle like that. Okay, and then I've got some scrap fabric here that I'm going to sew underneath the handle here and then underneath the top of the handle, and that will tie it together. All right, so that's the basics of the mug. Now the pockets on the outside, I haven't sewn anything yet. The pockets on the outside of mine anyway are going to be pieces of doily. Okay, and I've been just cutting out pieces of doily. I want a rough edge on the top. I want this to look fairly rustic, and I thought I want to use all my doilies for this, ones that I'm happy to cut up. And I'm taking that measurement that is going around the outside of the mug to roughly do my pockets on the outside. I'm leaving a little bit of this doily lace on the bottom, because I think once it sits like this, it'll look pretty with a bit of lace like sitting on the bottom. So that's what I'm going to do here. But because these pockets are going to be pleated a little bit, I need to make this pocket strip a lot longer than this, probably that and the half of that again maybe. So I've just been busy cutting out pieces of doily, and I'll show you how I'm doing that. It's not hard. I've just picked doilies out of my stash that I like, ones that are probably a little bit starchy because that will the fabric will hold up things in the pocket a bit better. So that's sort of what I've concentrated on, the ones that are a tad more starchy. And then I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to leave a little bit of this, what do you call it, the crochet edge on. So I want the edge to have that torn look, and I'm keeping all my bits and pieces because you can use them in other projects as well. So roughly about that size, and like I said, they're going to some of them are going to just fan down a little bit. Okay, I probably could have gone a little bit shorter on that one. I'll have another go and see if it'll work. Whoop. Alright, and some of them are going to have the pattern cut, but that's okay. Don't stress over it. Some of these doilies are quite old, and I have sorted mine out to my keeps and my cut-ups, and I've got quite a few of them. So if you don't if you have to cut it, just go ahead then and rough the edges a little bit like that. And you don't have to rough the edges, you can make all this neat and tidy if you want to. Okay, and then that will be a nice size then for that. So I'm also going to cut some of these edges down too. I'll cut this edge, and I might just keep that edge. I might sew that there. I'm sort of keeping edges like this on it, and then doing a long length of it. So then my next one will be this one. And then we're just going to pick what part of it we want. Well, this one will go there, I'd say. So I'll cut some off the top. Hopefully that will tear, yep. And then I want to overlap that a little. Oh, I should have cut that lower as well, like the other one. Let's see if I can get it again. Right, that's better. And I'm just cleaning up then what I won't need. And I'll go up here, and I'm going to get the machine out and sew. Oh, come on. Sew all these up. Right, where's some more? I'm not sure how much I'm going to need. Alright, I've got another piece here. I'll cut some of that down. Right, I've got another piece here, and I'll cut some of that down too. That will go whereabouts? I want that to go about there, so cut that between these. Now you don't have to do this, you can just add a nice big long strip of fabric. I'm going to join all these. That's my madness in here. I'm going to join them all up, and hopefully that could be enough. So I've done it double the length, and I want to what do you call it, gather this in a little so that I have those pockets. So I'm going to bring the sewing machine up and we'll have a look at it from there. Okay, so I've pinned where I want my closures, and I've got that top and bottom seam ironed down, and I'm just going to close that all in. So I'm just doing a straight stitch, nothing hard, and yeah, we'll just go all the way around the edge. And then next I'm going to join all my doily pieces together, and it's just simple. Again, I'm just going to overlap them like this and then just put a stitch on so it makes one long piece. Okay, I've got one big long length, and I won't sew that last piece on because I mightn't need it yet, so we'll check that out at the end. I'm wondering if I might need to sew some of those down. Right, we've got our base piece for the mug, and that will get tied on there. Okay, this is going to be the outside, and want to start by pinning it, and then figure out how many pockets I want. Probably just oh gosh, I don't know. Look, what I'm going to do is just cinch it in and see how many that it would make. And I'm just going to put little pleats in it. That probably needs to come down. Okay, and I'd probably sew between here to make the pockets divided. Might need to get some more pins. I may not have needed that last one. It looks like I didn't need that last one. Right, so let's unpick that last one. Because your mug will be different, you'll just have to gauge it off the size of your mug. That's how you'll tell what you need. Right, and then I'm going to gather that one in. Like that. And I don't have a pin. And then I will need to trim this end, just so that it comes in line with this part of the fabric. Well, that's all good. Okay, so you basically just putting little pleats in to the front surface of your this base piece that goes around the cup. Now in between here I want to put a sew line, okay, so it divides the pockets. Let's tuck you in. What I might do for these ends is just sew them off first. Oh, I've got another pin here. You get over there, and I will put in that. Now if you don't want an inside, that's fine. You don't have to have an inside. You could just wrap that around, okay, and all these would be sewn off and there'd be all little pockets around it. Okay, if you want pockets on the inside, you've got to make this fabric, I've just figured it out, you've got to make this fabric twice the width, so that when it curls around your cup, it folds down in there. But you know what, I think I just need to store things in here and then pockets around the outside, and I think that will be enough. Right, you've seen me pin all this on. Okay, I'm just going to sew up the ends and then I'll go along and do each pocket. sew up the ends, and then I will go down along the bottom and sew all the pleats. Okay, so I'm going to put a sew line up in between these so it keeps those pockets together. Okay, so here is my finished mug organizer, and it's a very simple one. Please don't take anything that I've done for glory, or I wanted it to look really rustic and really just put together almost haphazardly. So what I did, I changed this top one so that it tied above here. Right, so flip it over. And yeah, before you take any of my instructions for anything serious, just go online and look at a mug cozy pattern or something like that if you want a really neat look. This one's not meant to look neat. I don't want that look. So I'm just going to tie that up above here. I wanted to utilize my doilies, and I wanted it to look torn and rustic and old, and that was the sort of vibe I was going for. And then this one here I'm going to tie underneath the handle. Like that, and I've got it all attached then. Okay, I want all these rough edges. If you wanted to, you could almost trim some of them down. This one here is a bit out of control, and just trim it down just a little bit. Because I want those raw edges, they will fray over time anyway. So let's put some things in this. Now, like I said, if you want the cover on the inside and you want some dividers in there, you need to make this base longer and fold it down in there. But I'm going to fill it with stuff anyway, so right, let's put some things in. Got my textures. I said to Davia not to touch my black textures ever again, because he comes in and he'll say, oh, have you got a black marker? Need a black marker. And then they never come back, or if they do come back, they're all burred on the ends, and I just like, oh, please leave my black markers alone. Alright, let's get a pencil in some of these skinnier spots. I like my my nail file. I use that a lot in just little bits and pieces. And then these little ones you could put the scissors in. Actually, where's these ones? These my longer scissors. Put them in there. And I've got my friction marker and a pair of tweezers. And what else is going to fit in here? We can put this little ruler in there. That's going to fit. And then you've got all this inside that you can put other things as well. Not those pair of scissors. Let's put, oh, I haven't put anything in this pocket yet either. So let's put my quick unpick in there. You can't see that quick unpick, it's hiding, isn't it? And then what else have I got over here? Some of my paintbrushes, or I like these sorts of pencils. These are pencils that are a white pencil and a black pencil and a white pencil that they're all water soluble. I like using them in my mixed media. And I've still got all the inside. And look, isn't that cool? I can fit all that, and I can, well, it could even fit some gluing. Look, could even fit that glue in there, and I could put things around that. This could really clear out my little caddy that's over there and be very, very useful. I'll even put that in there. And I like to have a crochet hook just so that I can get to things when I need it. What else is over here? I've got a little knife, a little blade knife. Actually, I'll put this friction marker over here with the other markers. I've got a little measure thing. Let's put you in there too. Gosh, this fits a lot. What else have I got over here? I've got another little glue stick. I use that a lot. And what else have I got in this thing? Oh, my bead picker upper. That could go in there too. I think that would be loaded up and well enough to, you know, lift it up and take it somewhere else. I like that. Isn't that cool? So that is my mug organizer, and it's really simply done. Don't take my word off anything I've done. I wanted it to look rough, and it is rough. But I love it. I love it. I'm really happy with it. And those, you know, those edges will fray over time, just like the rest of it. But I love that it's used up some old doilies. And it's just, yeah, pick it up, and away you go. Awesome. Awesome. So I hope you've enjoyed looking at that today. It was very, very basic, but so easy just and quick to put together. And like I said, I love how it's made out of doilies. You can see the edges of the doilies. And I'm glad I didn't sew those edges down now, because they sort of flap out and they look pretty. Yeah, really happy with that. Really happy with that. Alright, if you're new here, I'd love it if you'd like, share and subscribe. Press that bell button to get notifications. Tell me what you think of my crazy mug organizer. And like, share, and yeah, I will see you for a new make, a new video. Enjoy your day and stay crafty. Bye.